law enforcement and animal care workers have new training tonight on how to handle abused and neglected pets. TV6's Michael Sobek explains how this training hopes to improve animal care.
UPAWS in Sands Township hosted a training today for law enforcement and animal care workers on proper methods to manage animal cruelty cases. Michigan Humane Director of Statewide Response, Deborah McDonald, says this training aims to reduce animal cruelty.
Animals are neglected everywhere. It's not just in our large cities. Dogs can be left chained down without shelter anywhere in our state. To understand how our state statute works allows individuals to do something about it and to report properly and to address it properly.
The training provided detailed explanation on how to properly investigate, document, and assist animal cruelty cases. Attendees were also trained on how to help animals in disaster situations and how Michigan law protects animals. A Menominee City Animal Care Tech encourages animal care workers to learn this information.
I think everyone in the animal world, whether they're an animal care tech, a vet tech, anything involving animals, needs to have an eye-opener on what's happening on the outside of the shelter life. At the shelter, they're safe. How do we get them to the shelter to be safe?
UPAWS board member Andy Gorieski says it can be easy to be unaware of mistreatment of large animals such as horses and cattle. She also says this knowledge will help its equine division in rural areas.
I wanted to come to this today only because I am in partnership in running the equine division here at UPAWS, and I think a lot of times it's easy for people to maybe recognize or suspect, dog, cat, whatever. But there's a lot of people that drive through the rural area and see, oh, look at the pretty horses out in the field.
MacDonald also says if you notice or know of animal mistreatment, to call your local animal control and law enforcement. Michael Sobek, TV6 News, Sands Township.
Thank you for that story, Michael.